Hey guys, it's Pat from Pat's Brewery, and today we're talking beer lines. Okay guys, so we're going to be replacing some beer lines today for the Keezer. When I say some, pretty much all of them. I've got my annual beer festival event coming up, and I figured, well, some of these lines haven't had fresh beer run through them for a while. Let's make sure the lines are nice and clean and bits and pieces. And yeah, they were pretty damn gross, to be honest. Actually, of the 6 lines that I've got here, only one of them I really think is actually acceptable to keep. I'll show you what the others look like. And I have attempted to clean these beer lines, but I don't think I've been really cleaning them regularly enough for these to actually be savable. And I'll tell you also what I've done to try and actually get these lines clean. Okay, so as you can see, there's some staining, and I believe it is mainly just staining in the internals of the beer line, but it is rather gross, and it's a case of it is, as I say, going all the way through. I mean, this line here actually just seems to be really at this end that needs proper cleaning, but some of them, oof, not overly tasty looking, is it? No, not at all. Looks rather gross. And if you're going to be serving people, last thing you want anyone to say is something tastes a little bit off. Not that I could really tell last time I pulled the beers off of them. I actually poured 4 beers a couple of weeks ago. I did a kind of a tasting video, but didn't think it was very good. Never posted it. But anyway, I couldn't necessarily tell that there was any muck in the lines, which probably says more about me than about the lines themselves. But I did try and clean these. So the way I was initially trying to clean them is that I do have some of that purple cleaning solution. So we effectively dilute this purple cleaning solution, purple line cleaner, I think it's called. It's in the garage. I put that into a mini keg, and I was just running it through the lines. And to be fair, actually, you'd run it through, and initially it come through, the colour changed of blue, and then it shows through as purple to say that the line's clean. And you leave it in the line for 10 minutes or so, and then if the line's gone blue, or in some cases a more kind of offer colour offer, is that a word? A more off colour than that, then obviously you run more line cleaner through it. And it didn't really seem to be doing the job. Perhaps because it wasn't really pushing the lines through. I've got one of those bucket blasters, which obviously use very good for cleaning kegs. Well, what I was doing is I actually linked up my beer lines using a mixture of 3/16 and 3/8 connectors and these other connections that I use for actually within the Keezer. And I linked them all together, and I was running some sodium percarbonate through it, nice hot temperatures, same sort of thing that I would use for generally my cleaning the brewery itself. And even that's not cleared it. And then I've done the same sort of setup again with the blue line cleaner, and it's just not done the business. And I don't know if it's because the line's just too thin. I mean, for the 3/8 that I use with regards to doing the final connections with the taps, you're able to get one of those thin pipe cleaning brushes and kind of give these a nice little clean, because they're only short, so that's not a problem. But for these, it's just the line's just so small that there's nothing you can really get in there to dislodge any of this. Now, and as I say, some of this might just be staining and it's not actually anything too bad. I don't know. The thing is, it looks bad, doesn't it? And let's be honest, if anyone's going to look in the Keezer and you see that, you go, oh, you dirty bastard. That's what people are going to be thinking, aren't they? So I've decided to get some new line, and I'm going to fit that now. Now, while we're doing that, let's just have a quick conversation about how much beer line you should have between your tap and your keg. There's lots of calculations out there now, and in the past, for these ones, what I ended up actually doing, or for the previous ones, what I ended up doing was actually I just bought 6 party tap 3/16 kits from the malt miller, because I thought, well, you know, if it works on a party tap, it's definitely going to work for these. And funnily enough, I recently, well, I had to remeasure these because I thought, well, actually, let's get the same amount. And each of these is 3 meters. I did think that was quite a lot when I realised. And to be fair, my taps have always been a little bit low flow, would be a fair statement. So I had a little bit of a look up with regards to what the rates should be, and also what the picnic taps that the malt miller sell at the moment, what their lengths of 3/16 hose was, and they're now selling it as 2 meters. And when I've done a further bit of research, yeah, the suggestion is 6 to 8 feet, depending on the distance between the keg and the tap, and also the temperature that you're storing it at. So I'm going to go with a 2 meter length. I bought 18 meters of this before I'd done the research, because I figured, you know, I think 6 taps times 3 meters, 18 is 60p a meter from the malt miller. At that price, you know, it's no real issue. So yeah, it's a case of I'm going to have extra. If I really need to, I could always splice some lines together if needed, but I don't think I will. I think the 2 meters is going to be absolutely fine, and we're going to go from there. Now, while I just unwrap this and start doing some measuring, it's worthwhile also saying that I did disconnect all of the actual taps themselves, and I've given them a deep bath in cleaning solution. Now, one of the big differences with those is that, so these taps are actually chromed brass, and there is part of me that's going, oh, at some point I could always go over to stainless steel. I know quite a few people have. There's obviously a cost to stainless steel, but you know, again, if you're talking about how things look, then, you know, it might be something that's worth considering in the future. But we won't do that anytime soon. Let's just get this underway. So as I say, we'll have quite a bit extra now, because obviously 6 taps by 2 meters is 12 rather than the 18 needed. So let's just set me up. If you haven't got one of these, the beer line snippers, get one, because they are well worth it. So, first one done. And I'm just going to do that for the rest, and we'll maybe speed up this while I do it. So no doubt I will find something to do with the other line, and actually something else that I will look to do is colour coordinate these just so that they'll line up at some point. But for now, let's just get them on a tap. At one point as well, I will upgrade the method I use for keeping my lid open. One of these days, Again, just to go through, we've got our standard Connie keg outpost going from a 3/8 to a 3/16 conversion, 2 meters of 3/16 pipe, 3/16 to a 3/8, then a small bit of 3/8 that will be fitted onto the actual tap. Now, as we have a look at the beer lines at the moment, it's all a bit of a mess. But check out how many kegs I've got in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a mini. That's most kegs I've ever had in here. So yeah, it's a little bit crazy, but we will get this tidied up, and next time you see it, it should be nice and tidy. So we are all hosed up, even run some beer through the lines now. Now, from this angle it probably doesn't look that much better, but I swear it is. You've got each line curls round into its own circle and then goes off to its own keg, should I say. As we go further this way, I've actually given it a little bit more slack because sometimes we need to be able to reach over this way a little bit more, obviously, because that's where the kegs are, whereas the taps are evenly distributed across the front of the Keezer. One of the lines that I haven't hooked up to anything is actually the one that goes to my bowl iTap. With this one, I've not coiled it up, and I've just actually kind of run it around the back there, just so that it has access to all of the kegs, so I can bottle as and when. Now, I've got one more test that I do need to do, which is actually to pull some pints and see how the beer line's reacting based off of the shortened length. From the bits that I've briefly ran through, actually I'm quite happy with kind of the flow that looked to be coming, but we'll pour some half pints and see how that looks. So it goes to show that I still suck at this YouTube thing, because I just poured what I would class as the perfect pint or half pint, and forgot to hit the record button, didn't I? And I don't really want to do it again. I'll test out one of the other lines, but let's just say that the off the floor lager pulled very well, very nicely. We'll pull another one in a bit. So let's try another one. This time we are going to go with the Red Horse Rye IPA. There we go. So it's a little bit dark, Not exactly the clearest, so hopefully it will clear up in the next couple of weeks. Don't think I've poured very many off of this one, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. So there we have it, that's the new beer lines in. Nicely poured pint. Very nice too. So, till next time guys, that's Pat from Pat's Brewery with some new beer lines. I'll see you next time.